Hey everybody, it's Rory from ANSgear. We have the GSR strap up here. So this is the Pro strap for the i5. Now, if you happen to break your strap for your i5, or you've spun your wheel and it just is given up and it's not working anymore or anything like that, or maybe you've done something to it to break it, and so I don't know what you guys do to these things, but if you need to replace your GSR strap, they sell the colors of the GSR strap. You've got the red, the gray, the green, and the blue. Now we've got a goggle up here that has a strap on it, and we're going to take the strap off and put a new strap on so you can see how that process goes. Now this process is not super easy. You would think that it would be like really simple to switch this out, but fitting the strap through the earpiece on the goggle requires you to like manipulate it and get it through there and kind of push and use some force on it. So we got to get it apart, and getting it apart is not easy either if you've never done it before. So hopefully doing this, you guys have an i5 already, and you know kind of how to do some of this process. So we'll kind of go for it and see what happens. So we're going to take our GSR strap out. Ooh, that's a sharp staple. Why I'm trying to be so gentle with that. I'm just going to ruin it anyway. All right, there we go. There's our GSR strap. And again, I'm doing the red or the gray one on here because this one already has gray. That way I don't need to redo it again and put the other color back on. So let's slide those over. So what we've got here, here's our strap. And if you've never seen the GSR strap, the way it works, when you turn it, it expands. You can see it getting bigger right there. So it's maxing out right there. And then if we turn the other direction, it shrinks up on you. So it's a real easy way to tighten and loosen your goggles. You don't have to like pull a strap or anything like that to get these on or off, or tight or loose, or whatever it happens to be. So that's how the GSR strap works. So let's get this off of here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the extra bits and bobs off of this thing so it makes it a little easier to work with. Take all the straps. And pieces out and just set them off to the side. And then on the inside here, for the removal of a frame or a goggle lens on these, you've got two tabs, one on the top and one on the bottom, that you squeeze together and slide forward. We're going to do that on both sides and get the lens out. It's just easier to work with the goggle without the lens in it, so we don't accidentally scratch or smudge or anything like that. I find it easier when I'm doing i5 goggles to get a towel, nice microfiber, and push on the front of the lens, push the lens into the goggle this way, so that when I push the straps down and push the tabs down, it unlocks from the goggle lens a little bit easier. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to reach under with my finger here and reach on with my thumb. I'm going to push down and I'm going to slide forward, and you'll see the tabs come forward, and it will allow this to hinge now. We can see the little clip that's right here. This is what hooks into the lens when it is slid back. So when we push those tabs together and we slide forward, it allows the hook to come out of the lens and lever inside like that, or pivot, I should say. Pivot inside. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Right there. A lot of times what likes to happen with these also is you'll get one down and the other one not complete. And so instead of it sliding forward, the top will slide forward, but the bottom will stay locked, or vice versa. And you can't get this to come undone. So if you can't pivot these in, then one piece is not unlocked properly. So once we've got both sides in, then we can push our lens out the front. Now I can grab onto this and manipulate it and not worry about kind of smudging anything or goofing anything up. So now what I'm going to do is this needs to come out this way. All right. And the only way to really get this piece to come out is to squeeze these two pieces together and pull them out the back. So I'll try to get you guys to see this. See how that popped up? So we want to keep this down and pull it out just like that. Now I'm only kind of doing the top one to do that. When I put it back together, I'm going to put the bottom in and lock that or push down on the bottom and then rotate the top in while pushing on it. But the easiest way I found to do it is make sure that the bottom section is in and forward. So we've unlocked the bottom section and it is slid forward. And while keeping the bottom section forward, like that, I'm going to pivot the top section back, and I'm going to push it down and pull it out. And then, boy, that can be tough sometimes. Sometimes I use a little screwdriver to push on that, and then I can pull that out. You just need to be careful. Also, sometimes when you take this piece off the front, the bottoms are Velcroed onto the frame right here. And there's a little dot of Velcro where these two pieces come together. Sometimes they come off. The glue or whatever they're using is not as strong as the Velcro is, and it will rip the little dot off like it did to that one. So we'll go back and we'll put a little bit of adhesive back on that later, and then we'll be able to use that again. So just be careful of that when you're taking this off, and realize that you might rip that Velcro dot off. So just be aware of that. Okay, so we've got this off now. So I'm going to lay this in front of me like this, because this is facing to this camera that's over here, this down shot. This is facing straight up and down. So this is how I would be looking at it on my bench. This right here is the new one. You can see that it is like that. The gray tabs, let me put it more towards the middle so you guys can actually see it. The gray tabs are pointing outwards. The blue plate is faced inwards, not like that, but like that. So if you see on here, let me make this as wide as I can. Same with this one. There we go. The strap, the actual strap, passes through the earpiece and goes underneath the earpiece. And that is where we attach the screws that hold this in place. So this is going to go through here, and then these two screws are going to go into here through these two holes. Now that is much easier said than done. So first we need to take these screws out. So you need a flathead screwdriver to remove these. And they do have a little bit of like a thread locking compound on them so that they don't come undone as you're playing or running around out there. So you do need to try to unscrew them. They won't just come undone real easy on you. And make sure you're using a screwdriver that's the appropriate size. If it's too big, it's going to just slip through there and strip it out. If it's too small, it'll just gouge out the middle of your flathead slot. All right, so you can see that the size of this hole is not nearly big enough to fit this through here. And so you have to come up with some fancy ways to get this to pass through. Now I've done this a bunch of different ways where I will do like the gray part first, and I'll try to pass that through that way and kind of turn this down at an angle and then get that through. But then our goggle strap sometimes likes to get in the way when I'm doing that. So you kind of just have to fiddle around with it for a while and find the easiest way for you to get that through. And that way, right there, It's, I think, the easiest way to do it for me. So I fold the two pieces and then I pass it through. Fold them like this. So normally they're going to be like that. If you try to do this hook through or whatever, it doesn't fit so well. I bring them as close together as I can, kind of in a V shape like that, and that's what I pass through. So for me, if I was then going over to this one, I would then come to my new strap, whatever color it happened to be. I would taco that one or fold it into a V, whatever it happens to be. And then I would pass it through. Now remember, you want this to end up passed through and sitting on top. So make sure you go in the direction that you need it to go through. So I'm going to do that. Push this through here. Get those to go over the top. Pull it through. Push that over. Pull it through. And get that through the end right there. All right, so there we go. We've got our strap on there. It's passing through the top and underneath. Then we would line up our two screws. And then we would put those through. Like so. 1 and 2. All right. So there we go. One side is done. Now we're going to move to the other side and do that. I always like to work in sections. I don't pull everything apart at once. I mean, you do it how you want to do it, but that's just how I do pretty much all my guns, everything like that. If I'm doing a color swap, I work section by section. I do eye cover on one, eye cover on the other, feed neck on one, feed neck on the other. Just makes it so I don't miss pieces. Okay. All right, so now we're here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the old taco. And we're going to try to just get it on through. Again, just kind of working one little bit at a time. So there we go. Now that is off completely. I'm going to come over to this side. I'm going to lay it down to make sure I understand the direction that I'm going. I want it to go through like this. So I want to taco or fold or whatever you want to call it. And then pass through. And it will kind of get hung up on places. And you just kind of go in and work it around until you can get everything through. And then we see, now I'm upside down. You see how I got through there? So now I'm going to have to rotate this around. There we go. All right, so now put this screw in.
I'm just swapping battery.
We're good on that one. Yeah, we can keep going. Our battery is about to die on this camera right here. We're going to keep going here. All right, so we got that screw down in now. And there we go. Now we're back together. Now we can take our goggle here and we can put it back together. I'm going to start with this. I'm going to put the one side in to my bottom, and then I'm going to fold down my top and tuck it underneath and push everything together like that. I'm going to check the bottom. Yep, bottom is snapped in. Move around to the other side. Push down on my bottom section first. Then push my top down. Get it just underneath there so I can push it forward and then slide it in. All right, and then I'm going to check all my tabs, make sure that they're in the right spots. They are. Now I can then push my tabs in, slide my locking device forward, go to the other side, tabs in, slide forward, make sure that both pieces pivot, bring my lens back, put my lens in, take my microfiber, push on the lens so that it seats all the way back. Sometimes if you don't push on it, when you go to lock your lens in place, that little hook that's on our blue piece here doesn't catch it, and you'll pull back and it won't actually clip the hook or clip the lens in place. So we want to make sure that we're pushing on that. We want to make sure that our hook, see our locking tab slid back right there. So we want to slide that back forward. Now we can push our hook in, and then we can pull back and snap it into place. We're going to do the same thing with the other side. We're still good. Bring it back, lock it in place. And then I go and always inspect my hooks or my tabs to make sure that they have snapped up and locked in place. That way, if you're out on the field, it doesn't unhook itself somehow while you're out playing. So now all we would need to do is just go back in and re-glue this so that we have that locked onto the bottom. And there you go. That's it. Takes a little bit of work, but replacing your GSR strap is possible and is doable at home. Just need a flathead screwdriver, a little bit of time, and a little bit of finger strength to get it done. But the GR straps are available on the website. The gray one, which we switched out, the blue, the green, and the red. Pick yours up today through ANSgear.com.